Let's talk about the ARO Mini. This is an RMSc that is an RMSc footprint that is available from AT3 Tactical. And much like the Nano version, this is intended for the everyday carry on the smaller handguns. This lists the Glock 43X, the 48, the P365, the Hellcat, and the Smith & Wesson Shield. So that's kind of what his intent is. As long as you have an RMSc platform or adapter or mount, then this will work just fine. So it doesn't matter. Like for example, my Smith & Wesson um, Mod 3, my XD Mod 3, I have an RMSc plate on it. So even though it's a little bit of a bigger gun, this will mount no problem and it'll work just fine. So this is kind of a next step up from the Nano, in my opinion. The Nano is a very basic polymer lightweight sight that you can throw that's really low profile. This is slightly heavier. This is a metal design and there's a little bit more bulk to it. You can see if you look at my Nano video, you can just look and compare the two, that this has a little bit more bulk to it, and that's fine. It's still pretty lightweight. It's a 20 millimeter by 16 millimeter window. So the window's a little bit bigger. And let me see if I can find the dot. There's the dot. The window's a little bit bigger. So you still get a good field of view, even though it's an RMSc type hookup. Has a closed body on the bottom, and the battery is a top load, which I like. Top load batteries are awesome in my opinion, as long as the sight is big enough to support it, because you don't have to take the sight off. I think most sights should have a top load or a side load, depending on the configuration, just so that way you can mount it, set it in, and that's it. You don't have to take it apart. But I understand why there's some sights out there, like the Nano, it's so small that the only way for it to make sense is to have a bottom load battery. But I really, really dig this. This is IPX7 waterproof, so that is a plus, I think, from the Nano. It actually does have a waterproof rating. This is only rated for 10,000 hours. The Nano is upwards of 50,000 hours, I believe. So this has less of a battery life, still pretty good. But with everything, just keep an eye on your batteries, and I would just swap batteries out on a regular basis, especially with this top load. It makes it super easy. The body itself is good and solid. It has the curved top on here that will mitigate a little bit. But I've noticed with most of these open emitter dots, if you drop it too much on the top, you're going to get cracking of the lens. That's just the way it is. You're going to have a hardcore setup like an RMR or something like that that would withstand more abuse by getting dropped. So keep that in mind. This will be more tolerant of racking off of hard surfaces because of the metal design, and there's a little bit of a recess. You're not necessarily going to hit the glass, but it is possible because it's still pretty close up to the front. There's a little bit of a recess, but if I'm constantly banging this on surfaces to rack or whatnot during like one-handed drills or whatnot, then I do have the opportunity to potentially mess up that glass. Keep that in mind. The design, very flat. There's no ears on the back like you see on some optics. So keep in mind, make sure this is set up in such a way, if you're worried about the optic going down, make sure you have a good co-witness, which most of these guns, when you set it up, you will have a co-witness, especially if they have just the RMR cut. Like the Springfield Hellcat Pro has a RMR direct mount, and I can still pretty much co-witness with the sight. Barely, but I can still do it. I still get enough of a sight picture. It's not an issue. Windage and elevation is pretty positive on here, so no issues there. Overall, I think the optic's good, especially for the budget price offered. I don't see any glaring issues with it. It does come with everything it needs to mount. The only thing I could say is, just like with any open emitter, keep it clean. Don't get lint or anything in here. The open emitter, what that means is there's an emitter right here and it's open, it's emitting onto the glass. So if this gets covered back here, this little port, then you're not going to have a dot. So make sure to keep lint out of there, all that good stuff if you're carrying it a lot. But overall, I think it's a pretty good value. What I'm seeing with dots is it's almost kind of boring. You look at this and go, yeah, it's just a little red dot. It's kind of boring in design, and that's honestly kind of what I want. I don't want to get too crazy for something that I may use for self-defense. So I think we're getting into that era of red dots where a lot of the budget dots kind of look the same and they perform relatively the same. So it's kind of dealer's choice as far as what you want. But I think this is a good option. I like the AT3 folks. I think they make some pretty decent stuff. And based off of what I've seen so far, Their optics are pretty good. Again, the biggest thing with this, I think, would be just the open emitter. Just keep an eye on that. Make sure you keep it clean. But that's with any open emitter. So leave the cross swords emoji if you came by for a visit, and also leave your thoughts on this particular site below.